January 17th, 2013, Pro Football Central video podcast, I guess we can call ourselves. Look out later on. Going to do a couple of Skype interviews previewing the 49ers Falcons, Patriots Ravens. My name is Brian Harrington and I am your host. I'm not going to get too much into Monty Te'o because everywhere you look, that's what you get. Um, I will simply comment on this. He's a kid. He's young. Young people do stupid things. We all were young. Hell, I'm 28 still. I still do stupid things. Um, I wouldn't eat my Kong peanut butter puppy, but looks good. But it's not real peanut butter for me. Check the facts. That might not. That it really might be, but I'm not even trying. But that's just the point. Monty Te'o, there's rumors of what happened. ESPN knew 10 days ago. They didn't know what the person was real. Person was real. They didn't know. It's a lot to digest. So I'm gonna get someone on, probably on Skype or on the podcast, to pretty much help out with it because it's just so weird. It's just a lot of weird things going on and a lot of reports of what's factual and what's not factual. And I'm just at a point where I'm just like, ugh, I want to talk about football. I want to talk about the players and personnel who are on the field, who are worthy to talk about this long. No disrespect to Monty Te'o, but he's a kid. Kids make mistakes. Um, will it hurt his draft status if he lied about it? Character's a big thing. But Chip Kelly's your new head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, and he didn't commit until last week. He said, "All right, let me listen." And I did several podcasts about Chip Kelly, and I'm not gonna beat that, beat that. But I was gonna say beat that dead horse, but that might sound very bad. Um, let's talk about Ken Whisenhunt. He's a new offensive coordinator for the San Diego Chargers. Ken Whisenhunt is responsible now for getting Philip Rivers back to form. Philip Rivers is, $100 million deal he signed. Um, he's made 38 million of it, which many people don't realize is if the Chargers release him, they can save $10 million in cap space. But why release someone? Past couple years, he has a 15-17 record. Um, but he's a smart kid. Offensive lines have been depleted. Wide receivers haven't been there. 35 picks in 2011. That's the one thing he has to make sure he corrects. Obviously, offensive line, when you get these players in your face and put your hands in your face, you're going to throw the ball faster than you should. Um, and the receivers, if they're not that good, they're not going to fight for the ball as well as Calvin Johnson would or someone like that. So put up or shut up. You have Ken Whisenhunt, who's a great offensive coordinator. Wasn't that bad of a head coach. Went to the Super Bowl. So I wouldn't consider him a horrible head coach. Um, but I will let everyone know that Philip Rivers, if they let him go, they save 10 million. Will San Diego do it? I doubt it, unless they have a quarterback in mind who they think will do better. Ken Whisenhunt, past couple years after Kurt Warner, didn't do so well with those quarterbacks, did he? Um, they're not on the caliber of Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers has an opportunity to gain back to form since 2009. I mean, he hasn't made the playoffs since then. It's been a couple years. So, San Diego Chargers, we'll see how they do. They have a new head coach, Mike McCoy, offensive guru of the Stars. Um, now they have Ken Whisenhunt. So, look for a very heavy offense. Look for their defensive coordinators, and it'll be very important who they bring on board. Lovie Smith, I reported a couple of days ago that I think he'll be a great candidate for it. Um, a couple places think he's going to sit out for a year. I think he's burnt out, but I think he'll do extremely well now that Ken Whisenhunt is on board as offensive coordinator. The pressure won't be as bad on him as a defensive coordinator. We'll see. Jacksonville Jaguars got Gus Bradley. Gus Bradley was the front runner for the Philadelphia Eagles position up until last minute when they decided to go to Chip Kelly. Gus Bradley is going to be a great coach. He has a lot to work with, though. He's got a challenge. Um, you know, I reported on PFC a report about previous head coach had the report to Shad Khan, Mr. Mustache. Shad Khan's a control freak. He doesn't want you reporting to the GM. Now that that report's out there, maybe Shad Khan might back up and give Mr. Caldwell, who's their new general manager, a little more leeway to let the coaches report to him, um, which is very rare that you have an owner be much of a control freak and do it that way. Um, Florida defensive coordinator, former Florida defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, is now the Seattle defensive coordinator. Florida had a good defense. I think that's going to be a good point. Let's go back to Gus Bradley. First in points allowed, 15.3 points allowed. He first place. Fourth in yards allowed. Fourth in fourth in takeaways as well. So they were big on stripping the ball and getting the ball and intercepting. Now, defense is a priority for that team now. They have a defensive head coach. I think that is going to be something that is worthwhile looking at. Plus, they have an all-star running back who didn't even play last year practically. He's a free agent in 2014. And this year is going to be very pivotal for the Jacksonville Jaguars because if they don't do well, bye-bye Maurice Jones-Drew, in my opinion. That's just the way it is. Blaine Gabbert, Chad Henne, who's your quarterback? Let's get that out of the way first thing and let the other person go, in my opinion, because you don't want a quarterback controversy. It never works. Flutie Johnson, Vic Foles, Smith Kaepernick, it keeps going. And I don't think it fuels the players. I think it causes dissension and splits up a locker room. Tim Tebow, Mark Sanchez. Exactly. Um, that's pretty much all that I'm going to report today in the little brief video blog. I gave you like 7 minutes of what's on the news for January 17th. This is Brian Harrington signing off from ProFootballCentral.com.